All righty then. Okay. All right. Let's go into a book that we normally don't go into. Well, I normally don't go into. How about that? And that is the book of Nahum. But as I was looking at this, I decided to, you know how in the front of most of the Bibles, they have like circumstances, a background, author and stuff like that, right? And as I was looking at that, I found some interesting information. So I wanted to share that with you before we get into the scriptures. And it said that Nahum prophesied judgment upon Nineveh. The Ninevites in Jonah's time had repented in Jonah chapter 3. And if you remember, Jonah was the one who ended up in the belly of a great fish because he chose not to go to Nineveh. He wanted to go to Tarsus. So God had to deal with him. But anywho, it says, but now that Nineveh's leaders had resumed their wicked actions. Wow. It is something very important for us to realize. When God warns us about something and gives us this chance, okay, I'm not going to say another chance. I'm just going to say when God gives us this chance, we should take it and we should learn from it and we should turn away from whatever it was that God was not happy with us about. Okay? All right. But it said they had Nineveh resumed their wicked actions. The Lord called Nahum to reaffirm his coming judgment. All right. And it said, ironically, Nahum's Hebrew name means comfort, comfort for Judah. And that was in verses 12 through 15. Okay. And we'll see about that later on. Yeah. Anywho. So then it says, because its cruel overlord Assyria would be punished without any comforters. Chapter 3, verse 7. Except for the name of his hometown, El Kosh, nothing certain is known about Nahum. Then I look back here. Where was that other part that I had looked at? Okay, the it says that the purpose here. It said that the main theme of the book, all right, is the impending judgment of Nineveh by the Lord. Okay, that's the main theme of this book, the impending judgment. And you will see that he will deliver his people. Jehovah would pay back Nineveh and the Assyrians in the same way they had mistreated their enemies. Since they were known for scattering their captives in brutal death marches, Jesus, the Lord will send the scatterer to disperse the Assyrians in retaliation for their cruelty. Since the Assyrians delighted in shedding blood and piling up the corpse of their foes, he would transform Nineveh into a city of blood with piles of its own corpse. Wow. Hmm. And that deals with chapter 3. God, the caring warrior. The character of God, portrayed as a powerful but caring warrior, was the propelling force behind Nineveh's judgment. The Lord's jealousy for his people and his wrath toward his enemies, balanced by his compassion and long suffering nature, seemed to pivot on his great power and goodness. Jehovah the warrior will take vengeance on his enemies. The portrait of a God of wrath is consistent with his promise to avenge the blood of his servants. Furthermore, God's goodness and compassion was not the doting love of a permissive or impotent grandparent. He was good or kind to those who took refuge in him while bringing destruction on his unrepentant enemies, including Nineveh. So let's get into it. Let's get into it because um, and this is the part that got me. The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite, the Elkoshite. And so when I looked into my, you know me in this amplified, right? Verse 1 says, the oracle, a burdensome message, a pronouncement from God. So that means that Nahum, when God started talking to him, it wasn't something that he was like, okay, oh, yes, this is wonderful. This is a burden to have to open up his mouth and speak what God wanted him to speak. It was a burden. But so it says, a pronouncement from God concerning Nineveh, the capital city of Assyria, the book of the vision of Nahum of El Kosh, which he saw in spirit and prophesied. Wow. Mm. So now let's just get into chapter 1 here of Nahum. All right. God is jealous and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries and he reserved wrath for his enemies. There is no I'm sorry. There's just no I'm sorry. It is you have run out. You had your chance. You repented. You guys went in sackcloth and ashes and everything, and God spared you before Jonah. God spared you. But now, he said, the Lord is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. Verse 3 from the he says here, verse 3, the Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. Oh boy. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the sea and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languish, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence, yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Mm. Everything is drying up. Mm. Who can stand before his indignation? Who can stand before his great wrath? Who can stand before it? That's what he's saying. Who can stand? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. You know, I watch a lot of silly videos, especially these like Korean dramas and stuff like that, and Chinese dramas and whatnot. And the people get so mad they just slang everything off the desk. And I said, now those things on the desk they was not bothering you. You know, that's what I be saying, talking to them. You know, that didn't have nothing. No, you had no reason to do that. You know, why are you going to tear up everything, throw stuff, break stuff? Somebody got to clean it up. Not see, because I don't want to be cleaned up after you. That's why I say stuff like that. But here he says, his fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. And that's some serious anger. He said, the Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. That reminds me of how The shepherd in the New Testament, right? It says the sheep know his voice and will not follow nobody else. You can call until you can know the names of the sheep, because, some shepherds, a lot of people name their animals. I'll put it like that. And you can know the names of the sheep, but they're not coming to you because your voice is not the voice of the one that takes care of them, their shepherd. Yeah. And so God knows his children's voices. He knows who prays and who welcomes a conversation with him. Go to him, not just a gimme, gimme, gimme prayer, but a Lord, thank you prayer. We sing the songs, I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. We sing those songs and then we go into prayer. Lord, I need for you to hear me today, Lord. Yeah, we sing those songs. Yes, we do. Because we feel that this will get God's attention more. Because, Lord, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you, Lord. I'm coming to you. I'm singing and I'm praying and I'm trusting that you're going to hear me. So the scriptures say he knoweth them that trust in him. If I trust in God, that means I'm going to have a relationship with him. And he and I are on first name basis. Daddy, daughter. But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not arise up the second time. Let's read verse 9. Whatever you plot, Assyrians, whatever you devise against the Lord, he will make a complete end of it. Affliction of God's people by the hand of Assyria will not occur twice. You've bothered them for the last time. Yeah. Wow. For while they be folding together as thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble, fully dry. And that to me means that somebody's going to get some fire, consumed by fire. Wow. There is one come out of thee that imagine evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. Who's that person there? That's verse 11. For you, O Nineveh, one has gone forth who plotted evil against the Lord, a malevolent counselor, the king of Assyria. Wow. Plotted evil against the Lord. You got some long hands, sir. Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, yet thus shall they be cut down. When he shall pass through, though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more. For now I will break his yoke from off thee, and will burst thy bonds in sunder. And the Lord hath given a commandment concerning thee, that no more of thy name be sown. Out of the house of thy gods will I cut off the graven image and the molten image. I will make thy grave, for thou art vile. And verse 15 says, behold, upon the mountains, the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publish peace. O Judah, keep thy solemn feast, perform thy vows, for the wicked shall no more pass through thee. He is utterly cut off. Hey, my enemies, they may be many, but that's few in the hands of God. God is able, all right, to make your enemies your footstool if he so chooses. He is able to make your enemies bless you if he so chooses. That's how good God is. And there is nothing your enemies can do but do what God is making them do. He tells them what to do and they have to go and do it because that's who he is. The Lord is gracious and plenteous in blessing his people, in blessing his children. He does love us so much. Ah, yeah, the wicked counselor. Mm. You got to watch those people that go around and start talking about stuff that you should not be listening to. This is the day that we all have to pray and get God's attention toward us and let him know, Lord, I'm sorry for any and every thing that I've done. I don't want to be cut off from you. All right? God bless you. Nahum, I think it's only 3 chapters, so we might just go ahead on and finish the book of Nahum um, at a later date. At a later date. All right? God bless you. This is your missionary sister, Robin Brooks. Peace. Take care, y'all. God bless.